Hello everyone, welcome to another webinar from Octahedroid. We're doing something different this time around, but joining me again are Jesus Manuel Olivas, co-founder and CEO at Octahedroid, and Omar Aguirre, co-founder and CTO. How are you guys doing?
Great. Thank you.
Doing good, thanks. How about
Uh,
you?
I'm doing great, very excited this time because we have talked quite a bit in previous webinars about what Drupal Decoupled is, the misconceptions around it, but today instead of talking about it, we're gonna show it. But just to bring everyone up to speed, Jesus, especially if this is the first time joining these kind of webinars, can you explain like the quick version of what Drupal Decoupled is in practical terms and what problem it solves?
Well, yeah, we can resume as something like, as a Drupal decouple is a way to separate responsibilities. Think about this, Drupal handles what it's good at, content modeling, permissions, workflows, APIs. And for our particular case, we use GraphQL as an API. And then, the front end takes care of the rest, like rendering, markup, user interaction, and user experience. So it's long story short, it's Drupal handles the backend. The front end is the one rendering the component is providing the rendering experience. And as I mentioned, in a particular case, GraphQL exposed structured content to be consumed by the front end.
Yeah, and basically now we're going to walk you through a live demo of Drupal Decoupled running to show you how does this look in practice. We're going to start from the cloud setup with Tugboat and all the way to local development on your machine. But all right, Jesus, take it away.
Let's start with this. As Flavio was mentioning, we have this like one-click experience, so you don't have to um, do the local setup. If you just want to try this, you can try like one click. Just go to the website, and as you can see, we have this deploy preview. And for this particular example, we have like Drupal Next.js and Drupal and React Router. So we're gonna try the Drupal Next.js integration. As simple as click here, and then what's gonna happen here, it's gonna start, using Tugboat to do all the configuration.
I'm going to take the opportunity to talk a little about Tugboat. Like a fun fact, Tugboat is a platform that his main goal is to test and deploy like applications. What it brings like infrastructure as code, it brings like ephemeral infrastructure. So using Tugboat, which is not the goal for this exactly, but using the platform, the advantage of the platform, they allow us to integrate their APIs with and create like previous ephemeral environments with of Drupal decouple with all the stack, the backend and the front end. And that, I mean, this is like in a demo, but in real life, in real projects, Tugboat allow us to create previews for pull requests when the team is making new features in an application. Tugboat allows to create a temporary environment for testing, to check with the stakeholders how it looks, the new change, things like that. But yeah, in our case, we are using like for the previous or like one-click deployment to take a look at on how all the pieces of Drupal decouple works.
So what happens here, correct me if I'm wrong, Omar, is just spin out the Drupal side, it just spin out the front end side, but it also
Exactly.
spin out the storybook, right? If you want to take a look at the components.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, like we mentioned, well, another thing to mention, this is like the opinionated way to make Drupal in Octahedroid in the majority of our projects. So that is mostly our basic stack, like the backend, the front end, and our design system, or the storybook where we are rendering all the components.
We can start with taking a look at the storybook. So as you can see, We can see the standalone components here, the color configuration, some components, by itself. But it also, you can see, like, or blocks that we have, like, or components. You can see different versions of those components here. I mean, I'm just not going to go through all of them, but as you can see, we have the components, we have also pages and inputs and all of the components. So again, this is a way to take a look at how your component is gonna look like without the need to implement it on the platform, right?
Yes, just to mention something, adding something else to the Storybook thing. So if anyone can see in the documentation, the quick start way to spinning all this, just to mention something little quick. This is the components we are using for the starter, but we decide to use a minimal configuration for Storybook. It's just about like the inventory of the components, just showing the components, but it's really basic, the Storybook setup, and it's ready to add a lot of plugins or whatever you are used to do with the Storybook. But this is the most basic installation or the most basic flavor of the Storybook, just to ramping up with how the components looks. Yep.
On the other side, we have the Drupal side here and the Next.js running. Again, we have the three instances, and we can visit them here just by clicking the one-click option. So again, we have a Drupal site here, fully featured Drupal site. We use recipes for providing all the configuration. We'll talk about what that configuration means, and we have the front end side here. So again, everything is pre-configured here. So again, backend and frontend are already connected here. It means if we go to the Drupal side, which is in this particular case the backend, and we change something, we will see that something happening on the front end. And we'll see how that looks like in a few moments. But again, the recipe takes care of configuring GraphQL Compose for exposing the data, the simple out module to allowing authentication from the front end. It also has, multiple modules like for other, pieces through using recipes, right? So again, we are using that, the default way of providing configuration with this. Everything is managed through Composer and packages. I don't know, anything else that you want to add, Omar, here?
Hmm. No, I mean that it is it's just the essential setup for making this with recipes, which is the new way to package like Drupal uh for your projects.
A fancy way to doing profiles or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Something else to add, we are using Paragraph for the structured content. You will see how that looks like. So long story short, we have the Drupal site here. We can probably navigate here if we want to. So this is content. Let's take a look at the content. Let's go and visit the homepage. So we are opening the homepage here. As you can see, we have, that front end side embedded on the Drupal side. Again, this is the same as this one. This is through the preview iframe module. Again, this module will provide you with an iframe, which is basically embedding the front end application on your node view page, so you can see the preview like out of the box. Again, there's something people complain about decoupling things because you don't have previews, but you can have previews using the iframe preview module. The iframe preview allowed you to navigate the site within the Drupal site. As you can see, the URL is changing. It means we are navigating within the iframe, but it also communicating back to Drupal to change that page. So it means you can edit that page immediately. And how do you edit the page? So you can go hit edit. And then what we see in here, it's that, the node edit form. We can navigate through the components. So now let's change something here. I think it's at the drum. Let's add a few things here. And now, as you can see, we can click preview again. We also have the preview, the built-in preview on Drupal available through the front end. So it means I haven't saved this page yet. So it means I can visit my front end. Nothing has changed because this data is stored on the preview stars from Drupal. So as we can see here, change, it's already here. So it means once I go and back to editing and hit save, now I can see those changes on my preview here, but it also, if I'm moving to the front end side and just hit refresh, we will see those changes here. So once I hit save, I can see those changes on my front end side of things. And we can also go do something more advanced, like going to component, change the order. Now let's change, card, group, order. Let's go card, CTA here, and then go preview. As you can see how it works, ready to use examples. Those are in different order because we order on the backend side. Once we go and hit save here, you're gonna see those changes reflected on the front end page. It's here. So again, all those changes, you can see the changes immediately once you change those on the backend side of things.
Yeah, this is very important for enterprise teams in regards to content moderation, because this is one of the main concerns around decoupled architectures, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it pretty easy for content editors to actually edit the content, revise the content, and publish the content.
Exactly. And if we turn on the content moderation module in Drupal, we'll have all that, access immediately. So it means you will be able to see all those different revisions, preview for those revisions. You will be able to roll back to a particular revision. So again, all those previews are out of the box with Decouple. So you don't have to worry about like missing those changes or previewing those changes, past changes.
Yeah, that's great. So basically, this would be how it works in the cloud. I don't know if you want to add anything else, Omar or Jesus, about this before we go to the local setup.
Just to make a note here, this actually it's really funny that this is also our way to make like a really quick test of, if you are working in a Drupal configuration, or if we want to take a look at how cases of our front end, like, like render ordering, or just trying to add a new paragraph with new content, things like that. Uh, this helps a lot. Even if you just want to try to, to test some full integration way, like make a change in Drupal and see that all those changes are reflected in the front end. This this is the way to just to show to the internet how Drupal decoupled works, but in our insights, in our day by day, for us, that we are making the project, is also like a really nice way to test how all things work, because this is a little different from like the traditional stack, at least for Drupal. And yeah, I mean that's the that's it. That's the this is really handy for just to make, like a little change and test things, and configure a new model, things like that. This is also really handy if you want to take a look, to give it a try. I mean,
Yeah, we're gonna leave the link in the description if you wanna test it, and if you want to see a more specific demo for your organization or your site, we're happy to help. Just reach us out in our site too.
We're going to also demo the webform integration. So again, we can take advantage of this particular feature from Drupal. Webform module. It's a module that it's pretty heavily used on the community. So just gonna use we have a run form here. Testing on to vote and just submit. And what it's gonna happen here, we will see that particular form submission on the Drupal side of things. So let's go back to here. web forms. So we can see the web form here. Take a look at submissions, and we can see what was submitted. Right. So let's go here, view, and we can see what was submitted from the front end. So again, what this means for a user from the the user perspective, it means you can take advantage of web form handlers. So it means once you submit the form, you can do what you always do on the Drupal side of things, like integrating with like Mailchimp or your CRM or any other third-party integration just from within Drupal. So it means the front end takes care of like posting the data to the Drupal backend, and then once get submitted to the web form, from that particular point, you can handle as you usually do that from the web form handler.
Yeah, that's great. So now maybe we can move on to the local setup demo.
Yeah, let's take a look at this. So again, going back to the homepage of the project, instead of going to preview, we're just gonna go get started, and from here we're just gonna go directly to the quick start and how to set up Drupal. So from here we have several commands that we can just copy. So I'm gonna start copying one by one and just typing or pasting on my CLI, my terminal.
In the meantime, I can talk a little about this. What we are using here is Jesus start to creating a DDEV project, which is using our composer template for Drupal decoupled. So what has the composer template? Well, is just the core of Drupal core 11 and version 11, and we are bringing the recipe, which is using like it is managing as a composer package for Drupal in this case. And the additional thing or the magic that is happening here with the dev, also with Lando, is we have a pretty handy script just to make the full installation and like pre-configure all the Drupal. Uh, what configurations we are making, installing the recipe itself, and we have to run a couple of scripts to set up the authentication, for the OAuth authentications, the API, the keys, the secrets for to allow the front end to communicate with the Drupal instance. So uh, to make all that, you have to make a little some step are really really easy steps also but now it's what we are making just a DDEV command to run the whole thing when you are downloading the composer template. You are able to take a look of what this command does, which is the installation, the composer required from Drush, the composer required for our recipe, the installation of the recipe, and the scripts required to set up the authentication with the front end. And we're going to see at the end of this of this installation, like the output of the values you have to copy and paste to your front end application to allow them to authenticate with the backend. And yep, that's pretty much it.
So right now Drupal decoupled already supports Drupal 11, right, Jesus? Like what does that what changes with that update, or are there any significant changes or modifications to the project, or?
No, not really, other than support, the latest supported version of Drupal, which is 11. But yeah, again, our recipes are on the latest version, and all we wait a little to support 11 because we wanted to make sure the contributed module we were using are stable. So we wait a little instead of like going right away when 11 was released. But now that all of the modules we have are mature enough and have support for 11, we decided to go and do that. remember the some of the keys that Omar were mentioning stuff that we will require to connect backend and front end. Those are, I mean, shown on the CLI output. You can copy from here to the front end and connect all the dots. Once the process is completed, as we can see here, we can just like click this link and log in into the Drupal site. We can see here, this is the Drupal site, and this is exactly the same, the same installation that we have with the on the cloud, but in this particular case, in our local machine. I mean, all the content is here, and it's broken, but it's not broken really. So we need to like set up the front end part here.
Mm.
We will that in a minute. Going back to the instructions, let's copy the front end command and just paste it on your terminal. Just give it an app name. So let's name it like Drupal Next. And this process is gonna take care of downloading all of the npm packages for setting up a project. What else is downloaded here, Omar?
I mean, just the next application, which is based in our starter, which already has all the setup, the setup to connect with the Drupal site. Just is worth to mention that also these starters are in the, I will say, in the most recent versions from this couple of weeks, which, for example, in this case, we are using Next 16.1.6, which doesn't have all the older version problems from the React server components, things like that. We also with all these new update to support Drupal 11, we also take care of these starters and trying to bring us to the most recent versions. Yeah, and we are going to try to keep this like updates frequently. We can promise uh, too much, but we are going to try to keep it updated. Yeah. And well, also next in other, also for the components we are using ShadCN in this case. So also another good update to for in that matter is that we are now moving with the base UI components from ShadCN. uh, which other thing? Like Tailwind 4. I mean, the most recent stuff in this world. But yeah, next and the new components of Chatien in base UI are already in these starters. And this starter also is pre-configured just to make it work with Chatien.
Great.
Okay, think yeah. Following back with the installation process, we just like create the app, but now we need to do a little configuration. In this particular case, we're gonna copy the EMB example file as EMB. So let's go here, paste it in. Let's going back to the instruction, and it means update values. So once I copy, I run this command, the file it was like copy. What I'm gonna go to is going back to my Drupal installation and just copy the values here. So we're gonna copy this Drupal client ID and Drupal client secret, which those values were generated for this particular Drupal installation. We're gonna go to my EMB file, say it
Yep.
here. Everything is,
Also,
go
I
ahead.
mean, also you are going to, well, in this case, we are the DDEV site is naming Drupal Decoupled, but this can change whatever is your like the name of your project. And also, I forgot to mention, also we are using the latest version of Storybook, which is Storybook 10. Sorry about that.
Okay, and as you can see here, we support DDEV and Lando. If you want to, if in your particular case you're using Lando, you just like remove this line, or uncomment this one, remove this one, so you can use whatever you want to use, either DDEV or Lando. So once we finish this configuration here, we can go back to our CLI and just run npm run dev. It means this is gonna run the Next.js application. To go click this one, and what we're gonna see next is the app. So the Next.js app is here. It's already pre-configured, consuming data from the local Drupal installation we have here. So it means if I go back to my Drupal site and refresh the page, now I'm gonna see the next app. Exactly the same thing we have on Tugboat. So we can do the same example. You can edit here and just change something on my components, like change whatever I want to change. Click save, was updated, go back to my next site, and it's already, all fully functional example.
Thank you very much. And just to end this session, we wanted to know like what's next for the project. What are the plans in the roadmap ahead?
I mean, I can speak a little bit, and probably Jesus has another surprise for all of us. But at least in the near future, there are a couple of things we are working on. So first one is the scaffolding tool to configure Drupal decoupled in existing front-end application, which is which the idea is to make a basic integration without using the starters. And also we have another recipe which makes a very minimal configuration from Drupal. This is in the docs already, probably a little outdated, but also we are trying to figure it out if with a couple of people, a couple of users, if it is worth to keep maintaining this. I know there is a lot of people that they like to make like the full experience and making all by themselves. So we are providing that way to configure Drupal decouple, but we are evaluating if it's the best choice to continue maintaining this or not. And the other like next thing at this in this matter is working in new starters. So we know that the Next and Reg router are really popular, but we also have Astro, we also have Tanstack. So we are trying to provide also basic starters for those frameworks. Um, uh, I don't know if in that order exactly, but at least we are going to make these new starters for front-end frameworks and Drupal decouple. And there is another thing, and probably Jesus has more news about it.
Yeah, and finally, maybe all of you are aware of like the new drag and drop page builder. It's coming to Drupal. It's already on Drupal. It's called Canvas. So we are working on a way to expose the structured data that is coming from Canvas through the GraphQL API, so you can consume on your front end. So and we'll show you an example of that probably on our next iteration. But what you can have is all the preview experience, all the drag and drop features with Canvas using React components, and also have those components available on your front end site, so you can again, consume through all the configuration from Drupal via the GraphQL project. So what we just did, it's extend the GraphQL Compose module to expose data from Canvas. And then also we create a version of the demo starter that it's built on Astro, but we build it on Next.js. So yeah, just keep in touch. We'll show you a video pretty soon.
If you don't want to miss it, be sure to follow us in our social media, our YouTube channel, and you can also follow Jesus. He's also updating on the latest of the project, and Omar too. But I think that would be pretty much all for today. Thank you for watching. I just want to leave you with some links in the description so you can try the one-click deployment, also explore the documentation. And if you want a more tailored demo, something more specific to your organization or CMS, or you just want to test Drupal Decoupled and see if it's the right fit for you, reach out. We have forms, get in touch forms in our site, so we will be happy to help, or you can also reach out directly to Jesus on LinkedIn. But that would be pretty much for today. Thank you very much again, Jesus, Omar, and see you on the next one.
Thank you all.
See you. Bye.